All right, welcome back. We are into episode 17, and we're joined by an awesome guest. We've got Rookie. Toby, I'm going to let you introduce the one and only Rookie.
Well, Rookie is a radio host, sports radio talk show host here in town at 107.5 The Fan. It's Bill and Rookie Experience. We'll talk about why it's not Rookie and Bill Experience. That'll be one of my questions. But Rookie, why don't you kind of explain your involvement in youth sports and how you what you partake in?
Well, my involvement in youth sports was coaching hockey, my kids through youth until they got to be freshmen in high school. I also coached a little soccer with somebody named Toby for a while. That was basically just rolling out the ball and letting the kids play.
Wow.
I did coach. I don't know if your kids ever did sports through the Y, but I signed my kids up through, for T-ball and soccer through the Y. And man, oh man, they beg you to coach. They won't let you out of there without volunteering to coach. It's unbelievable. So I did coach some T-ball and soccer when the kids were like, 4 or 5 at the Y. And I did have Jermichael Finley's kid on my team at one time, and we just totally dominated. And I thought, man, I'm a really good soccer coach. I might have a future in this. And then the next season rolled around, and his kid was on a different team, and we weren't so good. So I was thinking maybe I'm not that good of a soccer coach.
Don't cut yourself down, but Rookie, you're a great soccer. I've seen it. I've been a part of it.
Yeah. Coaching with you is what drove me to get into the Hurricanes, get out of the rec league and get into the Hurricanes, which is now the Loons, as we all know. So, and then after coaching, by the way, since my kids are now in high school, this is my first year. I'm just wrapping up my first year of reffing hockey at the youth and high school level, WIAA and youth.
Nice.
Which we will dive into because I am intrigued by your reffing.
I may have missed my calling. I am a pretty good ref. I guess I was the first one to ref a perfect game and not miss any calls. And they made a big deal about it. A lot of people were in awe that somebody in their first year could call a perfect game, but apparently I did it. And so, I got a lot of inquiries about that.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
So, do you move up a level in reffing? I mean, or do they want you to stay with the 6-year-olds, or are they going to let you do 7-year-olds next year?
There's talk about letting me do 7-year-olds next year, but we'll see. No, you have to level up. You got to do that. So I'm not sure. Well, it's kind of interesting. So I'm certified to ref in 2 different areas. It's called Federation Hockey, which is WIAA in high school, and then I'm certified through USA Hockey, which is youth hockey. And getting certified to do youth hockey was way more difficult than it was to get certified to do high school hockey. For youth hockey, I had to pay my fee. I had to do a few hours of online videos, and then you got to take tests at the end of the video, and then you got to take a test, 50-question test, and then you got to go to a seminar as well, and then do some on ice simulations. So that's for youth hockey. So it's a pretty lengthy process, time consuming. By the time you do a few hours of videos and do those tests, you take the 50-question test, and then you go to the seminar, which is a half a day. And then you spend an hour and a half on the ice going through situations. So that's to ref 10-year-olds through 15-year-olds or what have you. For reffing high school hockey, I just had to pay my $50 fee, watch a welcome video to becoming an official, and then pass the test. And they're like, go for it now. They didn't even ask if I could skate or anything like that. They were just, we need you. You're breathing? Okay, we'll take you. So
the application was you hold your hand out, they feel your wrist.
Yeah.
Yes, you're good to go.
You got $50, right? That check's not going to bounce, too. We make sure that check's not going to bounce. And so
we prefer cash.
Yeah, exactly, right? Cash only. So I'm qualified to do all this high school stuff. So then what's kind of funny is, because this goes back to your asking about leveling up and stuff. So the play downs and the state playoffs roll around for USA Hockey, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, and stuff. And I'm not qualified to ref those games because I'm only level 1. You got to get to level 2 to ref the 10-year-olds in a state tournament. But here I am over refing high school games and tournaments and so forth. It was a unique process. It was fun and a great time. But yes, you have to keep leveling up, so to speak.
Well, it seems
it's funny. I was just going to say, Jake, our other.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Jake, our other ref, real quick, said the same thing. He said it was easier to ref high school than it was to ref, the low levels of soccer. I don't know why that is. Yeah. But anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
No, and you mentioned both things. It started with to pay a fee, right? I mean, isn't there a ref shortage? Can't we waive the fee? Can't we,
Seriously, it's funny because I would agree with that 100%, right? There is a referee shortage. And I don't know what it's like in other sports, but I'll just take hockey, for instance. And you don't realize if even if you're just a coach or a parent, how many games need to be staffed on a weekend, how many people it takes to referee these games. And, there's a shortage to begin with, and then games get canceled. And until you have a game involving your kid that is canceled, and you go, well, why is it canceled? And you go, well, there's not enough referees to fill all the games. You don't get it. You don't understand it. And then I think you still abuse your officials, to be honest with you, because I've listened to some of the parents, and I'll tell you a story about that in a second. But until I became a referee, and then we're all in this website, in this database, and you have your schedule there, and you can see all the games that need to be filled, and you can see all the referees that are going around and refereeing these games. And it's not just Green Bay, because in this area you have to supply referees for the Green Bay area, for De Pere Hockey, for Shawano, for Marinette, for Manitowoc, believe it or not. And so there's like these 5 associations, and I know they've got referees down in the Appleton area as well that supply for the youth hockey down there. But you don't realize how many games are being played in a weekend, how many referees you need, and then a lot of the referees are kids as well, right? They're teenagers. My daughter Gabby refs hockey, but then sometimes they're not available because they have their own games that they have to play, right? So that shrinks the pool down even more. And it's very interesting until parents realize how short are they of referees until they go through a game that their kid has been canceled, and they understand that it's because there's not enough referees. I think there's a lot of it was eye-opening how the parents react in the stands to refereeing hockey. And I'm sure it's true with any sport. When I was coaching hockey, I'm on the other side on the bench. You don't hear what the fans are doing. And I hear this not when I'm reffing, but when I bring Gabby to the rink and she's reffing, I'll hang around and watch because she's a first-year referee. I just want to see how she's doing and make sure there's not a whole lot. And it's amazing the bitching and complaining and the abuse from the parents and the officials. And I want to go, look who you're yelling at. They're 12, 13, 14-year-old kids that are refereeing your Squirt C hockey game. And it's amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine. There was a picture that was widely shared of you and your daughter reffing together.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. I mean, did she
see
give
that
you
on
some
Facebook?
advice? Or the soccer club shared it for some. I mean, hockey on the soccer club.
Well, that's just a young lady that's involved in hockey doing a good thing for her community, Toby. So that thing should be shared. There you go.
Well, my kids aren't doing anything like that.
Well, Rookie, I see you on this on your Twitter page here. I see this picture of you reffing. You're looking very, very svelte. Looking good.
Well, hey, I've dropped like 8 pounds reffing. It's good. It's good up and down the ice. I will tell you this though, my very first game, it was kind of funny because I got certified on a Saturday for USA Hockey, and I had to ref 2 high school games on Sunday. So talk about going out, from the frying pan into the fryer. I get certified on Saturday. Got to ref 2 fall league high school hockey games on a Sunday in a 2-man system where you really got to move up and down the ice. So we're going up and down, up and down, up and down. Whistle blows. I look up at the clock. and we've played 3 minutes, and I literally thought I was going to die. I'm like, what the hell have I gotten into?
That's
and
awesome.
then, early on in the season, I'm like, okay, 1 period down, 5 more to go for the 2 games. I think I can make it.
The ref is laying on the bench.
Pretty much. But then I got in shape as the season went along, and damn, I'm looking good.
What, if you don't mind, speaking about the safety hazard you had the other week, skating backwards?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's hazards out there. Sometimes your own doing, sometimes the players. I was skating backwards with the play coming up ice a week ago. Hit a rut in the ice, and I went down like a tree cut down in the forest backwards.
Oof.
I bounced my head off the ice like a basketball. I swear my helmet just because the helmets are adjustable, but I hit it so hard it made it smaller. Got cut across the bridge of my nose from my glasses, and then so we have a whistle and a stoppage of play, and we're sorting things out. And I skate over to the penalty box area to get all put back together and adjust my helmet. And I got a coach rap. I'm like, dude, hang on a second here. I just bounced my head off the ice like a basketball. I'm kind of in pieces here. I'll get to you in a moment. But that and then when you're roughing the little guys who are learning how to play and skate, those guys can be dangerous too, because I got taken out by a 10 who slid right behind me and took me out from behind. You didn't see him coming. He fell on the ice, and he slid into you, and down you go. So those are some of the hazards. And then the other hazards is when you're doing high school games, and those guys can shoot the puck. When they're shooting it or trying to clear the zone or ring the boards or whatever, you got to have your head on a swivel. I mean, you'd be surprised. We're all wearing pads. We have padded pants on referee pen. We're wearing padded pants. You're wearing a cup. You got your helmet. You got your elbow pads. You wear. I don't know if you guys have seen the padded undershirts like Under Armour that I think football players are starting to wear now that are padded. We wear those because you never know when you're going to get hit by the puck or get caught up in traffic along the boards, and yeah, it can be dangerous out there at times. I have all my teeth though still.
Yeah. I was gonna say you're making $45 an hour and you got $8,000 in dental bills.
Right. Yeah, nothing like risking your life for being out there for $45.
Dude, I've seen a few of those come off the glass and they shoot weird or they ricochet weird. And man, I've seen the refs just barely miss it a few times in the games I've been watching this year, and I'm always like, man, I would be full face shield. Right? There's no way I'm going out there with a half.
Right? Gotta be on your toes, man.
Yep.
That's why I gotta wear my glasses. I'm getting too old. I can't be out there with my cataracts, not knowing where that puck is.
So you mentioned soccer coaching, and I think it's a excellent story to share so me and Rookie, our daughters play on the same soccer team, and we take on the Saturday morning team. And it was how many? I don't know. It was like 7-year-old to 12-year-old or something. Like they didn't have enough kids. So they threw, and we get this kid. He walks up and he's wearing a Messi jersey, and he is a monster.
He's like 5'11".
We are like
5'11". He towers over everybody.
I look at Rookie and we both are like championship, right? Yeah. We're winning it all.
It was just like having Jermichael Finley's kid back on the team.
Right. And then they blew the whistle and it went straight downhill. He was terrible.
Oh. Yeah, he was awful.
Just so bad.
You don't want to mention anybody's names. It was kind of funny because he was just brutal. But he has found his way to reffing.
He did. He is a ref in the soccer game, which is probably where he belongs.
I don't think he's playing anymore. He's reffing. But, yeah, that was great. We look at each other and like, yeah. We're going to be a walk in the park. And he had 2 left feet. If he was any slower, he would have been standing still.
We did coach the hell out of them, though.
well,
And I'm sure we won something.
It's like getting, it's like squeezing water out of a rock, but we got it. Because that's what coaches do, Jeremy. They bring out the best in their players.
Dang right.
Because we couldn't cut them.
Yeah. There was talk about that, cutting them or trading them, but apparently that was not allowed in the bylaws of Saturday morning rec soccer ages 7 to 17.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome.
He drove to the games and practices. We thought we really had a winner here.
He might have been in the wrong league.
Yeah. Oh, he was in the wrong league, all right. All right, now let's get to what you do for a living. How did you make this happen? I think you got the greatest job on earth.
My job?
No, I'm talking to Jeremy.
My job's the greatest job on earth. Well, so doing sports talk radio, right? 6 to 10 a.m. on the fan, as you said, 107.5. It's an easy
ding.
It's an easy story. Ring the bell, right? There's a cheap plug. Why aren't you guys wearing my sweatshirts I gave you? So it's really.
I wore it all day. I had to let it breathe.
It's really easy. I was an athlete growing up. Wanted to play primarily hockey. Went to Bemidji State in northern Minnesota to play hockey. Got out there with all the kids and lasted a year and go back and you look around and you go, you know what, you're not going to make a living out of hockey, but let's make a living out of sports, and just got into sports radio in college. And I've it's not like working in the mailroom of a company and moving up through the office. You have to go you have to go live in small podunk towns and do high school football and high school basketball and things of that nature, volleyball and whatever it may be, and eventually work your way around. And I got into the Minneapolis area for a while, covering which was really I was in Minneapolis at a great time, 1990, when every major sporting event went through there, from the Giants and the Redskins at the time, now the Commanders, playing in the Super Bowl at the Metrodome. North Stars were in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Penguins. The U.S. Open golf tournament was played at Hazeltine. The Final Four was at the Metrodome as well. And the Twins won the World Series over the Braves in '91. So I was working over there at the time, and it was a great time. And eventually, you move on to other places, sometimes because you want to, and sometimes because management tells you it's time to look for another job. You know how it is. And eventually I wound up here in Green Bay, covering the Packers and stuff. So.
Well, talk about an upgrade, because nobody wants to work in Minneapolis. I mean, come on.
I guess. I mean, nobody wants to cover the Vikings and the Twins and the North Stars and live in a big city and all that. No, it was fun while it was there. And I can't believe I've been here 22 years now in Green Bay. Started in the winter of 2000, and right after Ray Rhodes got fired and Mike Sherman got hired. That was a fun time too. That was busy. Mike Sherman takes over. That was the year that the Badgers went to the Final Four in basketball. Got beat by Michigan State. I think was the final. That was like 12-10 or something like that.
It was, yeah. It was
something like that.
Dick Bennett basketball,
right? And that my introduction to our listeners was I bit off my. I come in guns a-blazing starting on that station, and I talk about how boring Dick Bennett basketball and Wisconsin Badger basketball is, kind of, rattling a beehive, because not realizing how beloved he was in this neck of the woods from his days at Green Bay and Stevens Point and all that stuff. At the end of the day, I was correct, because the Badger program didn't go to the next level until they got rid of, Bennett and, Bull Ryan and all that stuff. But I remember something about, I made some wager that if they made it to the Sweet 16, I'd paint myself red and white and stand out on the street corner holding a sign. And lo and behold, they beat Arizona. I think it was they beat Arizona in the second round. They might have beaten Fresno State, Jerry Tarkanian at the time, coaching there in the first round. I have to pull that up and look on Google. and then I think they beat Arizona to go to the Sweet 16, and our phone lines just went bonkers apparently after the game was over, wondering where I was going to be standing on the street corner. So it took a couple of days to organize that. And meanwhile, doing the show, people are calling up going, I hope it snows that day. I hope it's 25 degrees and all that stuff. And I came into work one day, and Mrs. Rookie came in, and we bought red and white body paint, and she had to put it on through this big hairy body of mine, trying to
Lucky
get
her
on there. And I went out and stood on street corners, and I had people. I mean, it was funny. I had people coming by and giving me a can of coffee to wake up and smell the coffee. I had people cheering me. I had people driving by honking their horn and flipping me off. It was all everything. It was like, it was funny, but it was quite the introduction to the area. I can tell you that, because I'd only been on the job 3 months in March, and I started in after football season was over. But
made yourself known.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's for better or worse.
Hey, that's marketing,
for better
baby.
Or worse, I guess. I made myself known, but 22 years later, here I am.
I think you'd be safe this year saying you would paint your body if the Badgers made it past the first round of the NCAA.
I might be safe if I said I'd paint my body if they made it to the tournament.
Period.
They're out right now. They got to go on a run. They got to go on a run. Just beating Ohio State. If they beat Ohio State, that's not going to do anything for their resume. That's a 13 seed out of the out of the Big Ten. I mean, they got to then. They would have to beat. I believe Iowa's seeded 5th. They'd have to at least beat them and maybe win another game. I don't know if they can do that.
Right.
I don't know if they can do that.
Yeah.
How odd is it seeing the Badgers play on the opening day of the Big Ten tournament? Has that even happened since the inception of the Big Ten tournament? There's, for the longest time, they had that streak of finishing in the top 4 in the Big Ten standings and getting a bye on the first day. Can't remember the last time they had to play on the opening day of the tournament.
Well, they were one of the longest streaks of basketball and football, each making a bowl game in the tournament. Yeah. I mean, it was 18, 19 years in a row.
Yeah.
That kind of brings up one of the things that I think people are really forgiving of Wisconsin sports. And I don't know if it's just the Midwest nice or whatever it is, but like you bring up Dick Bennett, and full disclosure, my father-in-law played for Dick Bennett at UW Stevens Point. So that, obviously he loved Dick Bennett, but the grace that we give to Wisconsin coaches, to me, is crazy. I'm sure Guard's a good guy. Like this has nothing to do with him as an individual, but I don't see him as being able to take them to the next level. But if you mention that in the Wisconsin circles, it's like heresy. It's like, how could you ever not like Guard?
Well,
it's like, yeah, he's probably a nice guy, but I don't know. I don't see it.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of people. Greg Gard's been on the hot seat for the past couple of years, and it's starting to, get the burner turned up again. Now, I mean, it's a little bit like that. Well, here's the thing with Wisconsin, right? Because everybody goes back to how bad they were before Barry Alvarez came around, right, and turned the program around. And well, I lived through the '80s, and it's the same thing with the Packers. So all these people go, well, you don't realize how bad it used to be, so they're happy to be here. Well, that's a loser's mentality. That's you've gotten to here, and here's the problem. They've been really, really good for so long as they were probably really, really bad, that you should want them to go to the next level. You shouldn't be happy with really, really good. You should want them to compete for national championships in football. And it seemed like every year they were set up to be, the rankings would come out and they'd be in the top 10, and the schedule would just be perfect. And then they'd crap the bed early on in the season. And in college football, unless you're from the SEC, you get one, or Ohio State, you get one loss, and you're just out of the picture. And they would always shoot themselves in the foot early in the year. But I agree. There too many people are complacent with Badger sports being really, really good and not very good, or competing for being in the football playoff
national title.
And stuff. If Boise State can get in there, Cincinnati can get in there, and TCU can get in there once in a blue moon. If you're Wisconsin, you should certainly be able to get in there once in a blue moon, if not more often. And they just choke. And so I think it'll be interesting with Luke Fickell. I think this is a really good hire. I was actually happy when they hired Anderson before they brought Paul Chryst back, but they neither school or Anderson vetted each other very well because that was not a good mix. That was not a good mix at all. And then you go out and you get Paul Chryst because he's a former Wisconsin guy. He's going to be safe here. He's not going to. He's not going to turn the program around, let's say, in 3 years and then bolt for a better pasture because he's a Wisconsin guy. But he got it as far as he could, and hopefully Luke Fickell can take it to the next level. And that's so different than Badger basketball. That when Dick Bennett was the right guy at the right time to elevate Wisconsin basketball to where they were, but then his style and the way he ran things were too old school, and they got here and then they stalled out. And you had to bring somebody else in if you're going to take it to the next level, and they did that with Bo Ryan, which was the right guy at the right time for that.
Well, when basketball doesn't make the tournament, and they fire a guard. That'll be the big three because men's hockey got fired today. Tony Granato.
Yeah, he got whacked.
Yep.
But they had a terrible season too. I mean,
they had a couple of terrible
Wisconsin hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Greg Gard's going to get fired or not. It's going to be interesting. But you're right. They, firing Chris, firing Granato. I think the basketball team has been better. I mean, under Greg Gard, they've done a pretty good job. They've been going to the tournament. They've won some games. I don't know if they're ever going to get the flashy players. Look, Marquette did the right thing. They convinced Shaka Smart to leave and come up to Marquette a couple of years ago. There's been some of those other mid-major coaches like Mark Few out of Gonzaga that people tried to get that they just want to stay where they're at. I don't know who they would get to come in. I'm not ready to give up on Gard. I would give him at least another season, I think. But I'm going back to Chris McIntosh and making the moves, though. I commend him for that and not just standing pat and staying with the old Wisconsin guys. Yeah. Paul Chryst was a Wisconsin guy. You could have easily stayed with him. No, we're going to go outside the family. Tony Granato was the Wisconsin guy, right? He played for the Badgers. He's got a long history with the university. That didn't work out, so hopefully they go outside the program and get somebody for that. And then we'll see with basketball down the road. But I think Chris McIntosh is doing the right things. He's being very proactive. I'm not sure if Barry was still the athletic director, if he would do that. But now the thing too is not only do you have to be proactive in getting coaches, but now you have to come up with money because the NCAA went from one side of the spectrum way overboard to the other side, and now you have to have deep pockets to even lure these guys to come to your school. It's a joke.
Yeah,
and I don't know if I don't know if they can compete with the NIL money.
Yeah, well, the airplane they use is a booster airplane. I mean, it's all about NIL. It's all about deep pockets.
Absolutely. The pendulum swung way too far. They went from nothing
way too far
to everything. I mean, think of all the
think
of all the things that the kids get now that they didn't have like 2 years ago. They're getting money, and it can be above the table now. It doesn't have to be under the table. So they probably were always getting money, but more people are getting money, and probably more money now. Because it's easier to get more money above the board than it is to get a lot of money under the table, and then they got the transfer portal on top of it. So now you get all your money, and then you're not happy, and you say, "Screw you! I don't like the minutes that I'm getting here. What have you? I'm going to enter the portal." And then if they don't like it to the next place, they can enter the portal again and again and again, and they've gone from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum, and it's bad for college sports, and it's bad for mid majors.
It's terrible for mid majors. I think GB will be Division II before we know it because they're never gonna they're gonna struggle to get any talent.
Well,
and keep them.
Yeah, for sure. But they also need to up their budget. They're the cheapest bastards in the Horizon League, man.
$87,000.
I mean,
and now they got to pay. They pay Link Garner. They got to pay Ryan's kid.
Yeah.
I mean, they're paying a lot of money, just not for the coach that's coaching.
We'd love to pay a bigger salary, but we've got all this dead cat money, so to speak, that we've got to pay out. We can't really afford it. The guy down in Milwaukee is making $500,000. I think the guy in Green Bay makes like $175,000.
Wow.
It's and they're never going to get anywhere.
They don't.
They always say
take
they're
it
broke.
Serious. And another thing is they got to move the games to the Crest Event Center. The boys, it's a joke being at
100%.
At least get a little bit of the Crest is a beautiful facility. at least you get a little bit of an atmosphere there when you get 600 in the building or whatever they get for the men's game. I mean, it was sad the other night. They ran a doubleheader for the regular season finale. I think it was. They ran a doubleheader. The women played out there at 5:30, and the men played at like 8:30 or whatever it was, 8:00, and they sold 2 tickets. You morons! Sell one ticket to both games. They sold 2 tickets. So it's the women draw 2,500 or whatever it is. Game's over. Right? Get out. You got to have a ticket. And then 500 come in to watch them in. How embarrassing is that?
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah,
that's
these are not the
one ticket, folks, and get the women fans to hang around for the men,
or at least
somebody cheer on the men.
Yeah.
It's funny. You go back to Jeremy, what you said about Wisconsin loyalty, and I'm real happy they didn't hire Jimmy Leonard. Everybody was up in arms. I think it's a great non-hire. Let him go. But it's funny because you look at even athletes that come out of Wisconsin. Like, how long did we hang on to Jared Aberdarish, thinking just because nobody in town wanted to get rid of him?
Right.
Silly Billy Schrader out of lacrosse. I mean, he ended up being okay, but
Hey, I love Sheboygan.
Yeah. He made money off of Brett Favre, right? But at
he
the end,
was a D3 receiver from the WIAC, and that's why I loved him.
He could. You know what? He could have had the tiger by the tail here in Green Bay if he was just not so full of himself. Because I was here for the tail end of his career, and the guy thought his own doo-doo didn't stink. And I'm thinking, you're Bill Schrader, man. But you could have the tiger by the tail because everybody loves that story, right? Everybody loves that story. Yep. You're kind of a ding.
Yeah, well, he made money from the Lions.
He goes to my church, or did anyway. He might beat me up.
You can outrun him, buddy.
I don't know about me. No, he's fast. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, he's very
fast. You're fast.
He was a decathlete.
On skates, I might. If I was on skates, maybe. I don't know if he can skate.
There you go.
But he's a pretty good.
I do have
but he's a pretty good.
I got a question about your morning show with you and Bill. Now, Bill's a pretty nice guy. I've got to meet Bill, but here's a question I have. Do you appreciate when I text you all this information that you already know? Do you want me to continue with that? Because I feel I add to the show, but I don't get credit.
Absolutely. I love it. Every time my phone goes ding, I'm like, oh, man, Toby's coming with some serious knowledge.
Oh, we used to, when Macy was at Bay Harbor here in like second grade, we'd get in the car and she'd be like, all right, do it. And I'd text Rookie and we'd wait for the ding and we'd be like, all right.
You're a lot like my son, Jackson. Jackson will say something to me sports related, like in the afternoon. He'll go, so-and-so, so-and-so. And I said, yeah, I know. And he goes, how do you know that? And I'm like, dude, it's my job. I'm around this stuff all the time. Like, the Bengals are thinking about cutting Joe Mixon for salary cap purposes. I said, yeah, I know. He goes, how do you know that? Well, I don't know. Daily trip around the NFL, 740.
Right?
740.
But you have go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when did you start at the Fan?
Like the early winter, late fall of 99, early 2000.
Oh, that's right. You said 99 because I started listening. I moved to that area in 2004, so I was there pretty close to when you started a few years afterwards. I used to listen to you guys all the time because we lived in Appleton, but now we live in Point. So
you live in Point now?
Yep.
Well, there's this thing called the Fan app. You can download to your phone, and you can still stay up to date on all the stuff because they ain't got Jack in Stevens Point for sports radio.
Dude, there was a guy that was in Wausau that did Packers. It was brutal. I don't even want to talk about who, but it was brutal. Like, he didn't even know what he was talking about. He was like a former kicker, and it was really bad.
Yep. The Fan app in the App Store or Google Play. Ring that bell again. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding.
Ding. All right, we'll put a link in the show notes, son.
And then you're connected, baby.
It's funny because you used to talk about your podcast all the time with you and Bill.
Yeah.
And that one night we were going to the hockey game. I'm like, I can't find your podcast. And you're like, because there isn't one.
Right. Where we'd always talk about having a podcast because because we we have self-deprecating humor on the show, right? We make fun of ourselves. We're chunky.
A little bit.
We're old. I'm follicle challenged. Bill's not. We talk about it being mediocre. Mediocrity. And so we'd always joke about how this is the free show. This show is the free show. It's not the good stuff. It's the mediocre stuff. You want the really good show, you got to pay for it on the podcast. And people go searching for the podcast, and they're like, I can't find the podcast. I keep looking; it's there somewhere. Oh, there's no podcast. We're sitting on what was the from the Cheers episode, a snipe hunt. Anybody that watched Cheers with Frasier and those guys, right? Sent you on a snipe hunt looking for the podcast.
That's awesome.
People are going, Cheers.
But
what
you
the
do
Cheers,
right? You do have a contest coming up where you call in and caller. It's never the call I am, but they pick a college team, and as far as that team goes, you win prizes.
Yeah.
So Rookie I'll start texting Rookie the morning of, and then I'll text him every day, and then he'll tell me they're out of teams. Yep. It's fantastic.
It's 3.5 days of hell.
How do you get a team, by the way? I remember when I lived there, I called in every year, and I never got a team. I never could get through.
It's crazy. People tell me that all the time this time of year. I can't get through. It's always busy, or they're just happy as hell to get a team when they finally get through. It's the first time I've been trying for years. This is the first time I've gotten through. I'll take a 16 seed. I don't care. They just want to. I'm like, I don't understand you people. But it's funny. It's a great promotion. It's March Chaos.
It is,
because you can't say March Madness or you're going to get sued because it's trademarked. But starting on Monday after the bracket's been set is we'll hand out teams, and everybody that gets a team gets a $10 gift certificate to TNT Sports Bar and Grill. And then the further your team goes, the more prizes you rack up. Like, I think if your team wins their first round game, then you're going to get a $20 gift certificate or gift card to the Packer Pro Shop. And then we got some golf to give away at Irish Waters. We have PDQ car washes to give away. This is going to be fantastic. You're going to love this, Toby. Jeremy can't listen in Stevens Point until he gets the app. When we get to, I can't remember what it is, Final Four, Final Two, you're going to get a case of Pep's Draft House pizzas and a pizza oven.
What?
Seriously? Because I need a pizza oven for my basement.
A case of Pep's Draft House pizzas and a pizza oven.
That's a $300 value.
Yeah. And then a couple other prizes to wrap it up. And so it's a lot of fun, and we have to take caller 14 when we do it. The phones go bonkers, and people love it. We randomly draw your team out, and the further they go, the more prizes we get. It's a lot of fun. We have a party at the Green Bay Distillery. Typically, we do it on Championship Monday, but we're going to do it for the Final Four this year instead. So it's going to be on Saturday. So hopefully get a little bit bigger turnout that it's on the weekend and stuff like that, because we make everybody come out to pick up their prizes to try to drive them out to the Green Bay Distillery. But everybody loves this promotion. I like it. The Super Bowl party is my favorite when we give away the recliner and the TV. But everybody loves this promotion with March Madness. But
what bothers me about it is, on the raffle when the guy hides the ticket in his hand and then he goes, "Oh, look at this."
Yeah.
That's what I think Rookie should do with caller 8. I should call in and I should be on the phone, and then you just wait, and then you're like, "Oh my God, caller 14 is this guy," and I'll be like, "What?"
Yeah. Oh, Toby, it's my lucky day. My lucky day. Toby from Swamico, from Howard, Swamico.
Hey,
nobody will ever know.
From
Toby,
the Judging Bouncing Balls podcast.
Now, Toby, if you win now, everybody's going to say it's rigged. So you shouldn't have brought this
fine.
up.
I'm still a winner. I could care less.
Well, usually the people that get teams are the ones that have dropped off $20 bills.
Ooh.
Well, I do owe you lunch for coming on the podcast, so maybe I could.
I think you owe me lunch for
throw in a dessert
too. But yeah, is that kind of like? Is this like the party gift? guests of Judging Bouncing Balls receive a year's supply of rice-a-roni and free lunch, courtesy of Toby.
Hey, slow down on the rice
Well, no, 'cause- yeah, and the free lunch.
San Francisco treat.
Wow.
Man, we haven't made
Maybe
a dime
Uncle
yet.
Ben's. Maybe Uncle Ben's.
So I during my day today, I jotted down some notes of our past together.
Oh boy!
And the one thing that's always bothered me about you, rookie.
Before you say anything, our past together, does that mean we have no future together?
Oh no, our past has been great. Our future's even better because maybe we could discuss having a cocktail, watching Coolio rap by the Poolio.
Well, I'd love for the Vegas trip to get back on one of these days.
Well, as soon as our kids get a little through this sports that we're doing, we have to. But we'll go through it, Jeremy. But we were going to Vegas every year with our wives, and this last time, we stayed at the Rio, then we stayed at the Flamingo, and then we stayed downtown. But at the Flamingo, we got a cabana at the pool. Now, we didn't do the hipster pool. We did the older family pool.
It was quieter.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So we weren't, the bottom pool was full of youth and energy, and that wasn't us. But at like 3:00 in the afternoon,
was there shuffleboard?
All of a sudden, right, pickleball and shuffleboard. But Coolio comes out from, I don't even know what year he was hot, but
Mid-90s.
He mumbled every word, and nobody knew his songs until
Gangsta's Paradise.
Gangster Paradise. And he jumped in the pool and he walked around to the people, and he went to get out of the pool and he couldn't get out of the pool. It was
security
just,
had to pull
I felt
him
terrible
out.
for the guy.
So it was
like a
Coolio
beached whale.
Yes. He had his little antennas going and everything, and he came out. And
He's half his hair.
He sang about 4 songs, didn't know the words to most of them. Jumped in the pool, tried to get out, couldn't, and then called it a day.
He shut it down.
But it was hilarious.
I don't think he ever got over Weird Al redoing his Gangster's Paradise. I think that ruined him.
Oh,
it probably did.
Boy, we've had some interesting trips to Las Vegas, the Coolio by the Poolio. The last time we went, my wife had a broken ankle, so I had to push her around Las Vegas in a wheelchair. And every time we went in an elevator, she was facing the back of the elevator while we'd turn around and we'd be chatting, and he'd be left over here by the wall while we were trying to figure out what to do next. And then
I still have video of that broken chair coming down that back alley with this tire. That wheel is going to fall off. I mean, it falls off. We're all in trouble.
I had to have her in a wheelie ride all the way home from the restaurant.
Oh, and then I talked that maitre d' into giving us a wheelchair for $20.
Yes. He's like, so Toby is the king. Toby, I used to give Toby so much crap because he'd watch TikTok, or Tiki-Tok as he likes to call it. And so we're in Vegas, and I'm pushing Mrs. Rookie around in a wheelchair because she's got a broken ankle. And then the wheelchair front wheel breaks, so we got to get a new one. So because I'm doing wheelies with her. So we go up to the front of by check-in, and we're like, man, you got any wheelchairs up here? Because you got to have a lot of wheelchairs for those gray hairs that are coming through there. No offense, I hope, by any gray hairs out there. But anyway, guys like, no, we don't have any. I looked around, and meanwhile I'm trying to call 24-hour wheelchair services. So he goes, hold on, and he gets a $20 bill out of his wallet, and he goes walking back up to the guy, and he's like, do you have any wheelchairs back there? And the guy takes it away. He goes, let me look. Comes out with one. Oh, it just miraculously appeared. So for $20 we got a wheelchair. It's just like we went to Hell's Kitchen, but we didn't have any reservations, and we're just down on this strip, and we're like, you know what? Let's try to get into Hell's Kitchen, and we're like, okay, let's go. And we go in there, and there's just a mob in the front lobby waiting, and people milling about, and Toby goes up to the maitre d' or the hostess or whatever. He takes to it and he's like, so, you got the reservation from Roscoe ready to go? And they take it and they go, how many was that again? 4. Right this way. Excuse us. They're going through the mob scene. Nice little spot right back in the corner, if you remember, overlooking the pool and all that stuff, or the fountain. It was awesome.
That's
nothing
awesome.
but the best.
Toby is the master of ticky-tack and $20 bills. That's all I carry with me now is $20 bills. So I've always got
they work.
I've always got 20s with me in case I need anything. I'm like, oh, I'll try the Toby method here.
Hey, money talks.
20,
BS walks.
Yeah, gets the job done.
That was awesome.
No, we didn't. The gambling games. Bob always, Rookie made fun of me. The gambling games I play are terrible. Let's be honest, right? But you did enjoy the flush game last time. I think I got you into a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
What's a flush game?
Blackjack, craps, stuff like that. Toby likes to play all these games where you can find all the cards, and it's the gimmick games.
Oh, they're gimmicky, all right. Gimmicky into my pocket. I've never won.
But it's like he's like 7-card flush, 2s are wild, 4s rain no game, 1-eyed jacks, and all this stuff. And it's like, dude, why don't you just give me $100 and we'll just go about on our business? Because you got $100.
It's like in
10 minutes. Because you got to play.
It's like in.
You got to play like 3 different spots, and there's like, oh, all of a sudden they're taking money from that spot, and they're taking money from that spot, and they're taking money from that, and then it's like, why are they doing that? And Toby's like, I don't know. I just like holding the cards.
Oh my gosh!
Like, dude, give me $100.
It's like in
let's go somewhere else.
In Vegas Vacation, they're like, guess the number, and he's like 2, and he's like, nope, 4. And takes your money.
But we did have some. We had some great times. I mean, when we ditched the ladies for a while and we were living a large life, eating the foot-long hot dog down at that one for $1.99 or whatever it was
at the Casino Royale. It was $1.90. That's all we could afford.
Foot-long hot dog. It was unbelievable. Best life.
You guys sound like living the high life.
Oh yeah, great. Well, hopefully we'll be able to get back again. That would be fun. But
so you go every year?
Well, we did it 3 years in a row. We haven't done it for a year or 2 now. Yeah. I'm no longer in Toby's inner circle.
Nobody is.
He's booted me out like like Aaron Rodgers, his inner circle. Nobody knows what's going on unless you're in Rodgers' inner circle. I'm not in Toby's inner circle anymore, so there's no more Vegas trips and all that stuff.
Hey, maybe after Toby comes out of his darkness retreat, you can find out who's in his inner circle.
Yeah, right.
I could use 4 days in a dark room. The other
weird dude.
Yeah, we're not going to bring him up unless you got some information, Rook. Do you have any information?
JETS, Jets.
Jets. Yeah,
I think you're right.
For a guy that didn't want to exit like Brett Favre did, right? He said that he didn't want to have it go down like Brett Favre.
Yeah, he did.
Certainly is following that blueprint pretty closely, isn't he? If he winds up going to the Jets, which means in 2024 he'll play for the Vikings.
Ugh.
Right? They said the owner of the Jets, the GM, and I think the coach flew out to California today, is what I heard.
Yeah. So how's this for...
Really?
How's it? Yeah, so they apparently went out to California, a bunch of them, to wine and dine them or what have you. So how's this for, ironic, Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, heir to the Johnson and Johnson fortune, going out to meet with an anti-vaxxer about playing for his football team.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
that is.
I guess
funny.
that doesn't. I guess he doesn't care if the guy can lead him to a championship.
Hey, if my paycheck's coming from Big Pharma that I hate, not a problem. It's still going to cash.
Not a problem, right?
Yep.
I'll take it. And then by the way, if if Rodgers goes to the Jets, Love becomes the quarterback. Where are we? 2023. Let's just give him. We'll give him 15 years as quarterback for the Packers. Jordan Love.
Yeah,
He'll sign with the Jets in 2038.
it's a good point.
Mark it
That'll
down.
be our
Exciting.
third quarterbacks.
Mark it
Third
down.
quarterback since nine. So we'll go from 1992. Brett Favre started, right?
Yep.
To 2038, we'll have 3 starting quarterbacks.
And all 3 will then go play for the Jets. Mark it down.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
All right. We'll probably still be doing this podcast.
Well,
It'll probably be full time though.
If your other episodes are as good as this one, I have no doubt.
Yeah. Top notch.
So the one thing you said this on your show, and we've talked about this because I don't agree with you, and this is what it is. When you are parking in a parking lot,
The drive-through.
The drive-through. I've never forgot you said that you don't do the drive-through.
True.
Okay, explain
Correct.
this to me.
So when you're pulling into a parking spot, I don't know why this bothers me so much.
What?
But if the space in front of you is open, you drive through, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Rookie drives and then he parks and then he backs, so he had to back out, right?
So I have to back out. Yeah, the drive-through that is partially true. The driving through and parking doesn't bother me as much if the 2 spaces are open. What bothers me is when you get done, let's say you're parked nose in, you drive through when you're leaving. No, you back out. You back out. You don't drive through. You back out.
But it's safer to drive through because you're not turned around. It's the safety.
Well, I'm not so sure about that, and maybe this is why I'm so anti-drive-through, is because back when the kids were 3, 4, whatever, we were shopping at Festival Foods, and somebody did the drive-through and nearly hit Jackson.
Well, you can't blame
I don't
the
think you're supposed to
drive-through.
punch it. I mean, it's not like
No.
you just open and just hammer it down.
Oh, well, so whatever. But I mean, what's so hard about looking over your shoulder and backing out, especially with today's cars that have all these cameras on them?
Well, if Mrs. Rookie would have been there, I guarantee Jackson would have been running around the parking lot.
That's probably true too. With candy.
Listen,
and how many times
I've gotten rear-ended.
You know how many times I've been driving down a lane and somebody's pulled through and has almost hit me? Or what's even more maddening is like you're going to come down a row and you're going to turn into the parking spot and somebody from the other side comes in and pulls all the way through. You've never had that happen to you. Don't tell me.
That is annoying.
That bugs me. That does get me.
You're like, you're turning in and they come all the way through and you're like, really?
Yeah, but that's minimal.
Yeah, but that's enough to piss you off.
So I will say if you are going to do a pull through, I always pull through and then pause and wait and make sure that everybody's good and then I go. So, but I'm with you. If you just pull through and just go, that's a little dangerous because you can't always see what's coming.
I think pulling through is just a total symbol of laziness. You're not willing to put it. You're not willing to put it in reverse and look over and ease your way out and then go on your merry way. It just seems like the easy way out. Forward, go, whatever. If I hit people, I hit people. If I take somebody coming down and they want to park in that spot, so be it. I don't care about anybody else.
So I'll tell you this. I actually had to back out. This happened recently. I had to back out, and the person behind me was also backing out, and they did not pay attention, and they literally backed into the side of my car. And so that's one of the things I don't like about backing out is you.
Is that why you're wearing
Is
that why you're wearing the neck brace and you call one call? That's all. Gruber Law.
That's right, baby.
One call.
That dang right. But no, so I'm just not a big fan of the back out because it seems like more bad stuff happens. But I get what you're saying.
Well,
he's not right. He's not.
I'm not saying he's right. I get it. I get his perspective, but I don't agree with it. But that's okay. We don't have to agree on everything.
That's true. We don't. But backing out is the real man's way of doing things.
Oh, okay.
What else do I have? Oh, I want you to know that at the soccer board meeting the other night, Rookie, that there is no picture money available for anybody.
Yeah. So, what is the story? Where does all that picture money go?
So we've been talking about this since we were coaching together, that the club has this mysterious fund, soccer club this is, or probably hockey or whoever club, because they sell pictures. And there should be a cut to the club. And Rookie's always wondered where the millions of dollars have gone from selling photos. And I got to say, I don't think the soccer club made a dime, which is sad.
Really? Yeah.
Wow.
What? They didn't get a cut from the photography studio that came out to take the pictures?
I think so. So instead of making a cut, my proposal to the board was we should just raise the fees.
So, it's
awesome.
funny you bring fees up. Have you ever seen a sport that requires a T-shirt, shorts, shoes, and a ball cost so much?
Well, especially amazing. Right. It's grass. You think hockey, but hockey's got ice time. There's only so much ice.
How
Football's
does soccer cost $1,000? I would like to see a breakdown, please.
We don't supply that, sir.
Hey, somebody's got to pay for Toby's board salary.
No editing this part out, Jeremy. $1,000 freaking dollars. How does soccer cost $1,000 freaking dollars? A T-shirt, shorts, shoes, and a ball, and you play at a city park.
Don't you have to buy your jersey too?
Yeah, I was going to say you pay the fee, then you pay the jersey and the
you
shorts.
Buy the jersey, so you don't even have to include the jersey in there. But listen, Toby's on the board. I don't know if you know, Toby's got some hefty demands for his board membership.
I'm not saying I'm not.
$1,000. I would like to see a breakdown.
It's fair.
$900.
It's a nonprofit. It should be public.
Do the math. How many kids are in this program? We'll just round it up to $1,000 to make the math easy. Multiply it by all the kids in the program and tell me where the money's going. I bet if there's an audit, there might be some handcuffs involved. And I'm not talking about the furry kind.
Oh, okay. I thought for sure you were.
Now that we got that out of the way.
Right.
I'm
like, how does he know?
Explain it to me.
Hey, to be fair, Toby, doesn't 1,000 sound pretty good for...
Yeah,
that's because you guys are playing in the Super Elite League that travels around everyone. That's your choice. I'm like in a rec league for $1,000.
How much was it again?
$1,000.
How much is hockey? Hockey's got to be 6 or 7 with all that ice time.
Well, it's a little bit more than that, but yeah, ice time's $250 an hour. You don't rent the soccer fields for $250 an hour. And for God's sakes, for $1,000, could they freaking mow the things every now and then?
Actually, I think we just hit on it.
Get lost out there.
That's and maybe what the issue is the people who cut the lawn. Joe, sure.
They didn't spend any of that money for gas for the lawnmowers. I'll tell you that much.
Well, we got to cut back somewhere, so fees aren't $1,200.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's right. That's funny.
And then I got one more question for you, Rookie.
Are we going to post the books on this at all? The books, the numbers on the podcast.
No.
Money in, money out.
We're not that in depth. We're not that in depth.
Go to
we
the
can
piggy
barely
bank.
control our audio.
Take it in and we'll put it in the piggy bank.
See, originally this podcast was supposed to be about religion and politics, but we figured we better make it about sports.
Less controversy, huh?
A little bit.
But I don't know if you know this, Jeremy, but Rookie does a a show on Wednesday nights during the Packers season, and he's had a successful lineup of guests. And my question is, Kenny Clark coming back?
Good question. I don't know. He's done it 6 years in a row. We'll see. I have not put out the official invites yet. Yeah, getting down
And he
to that,
got paid last year's show. It shouldn't be the new contract, right? I mean, the money's already in his pocket.
Oh, no, exactly. It depends on whether. I think Kenny likes doing it. It's kind of funny. He's done it for 6 years in a row, and every year we go into it. And I think, well, this is going to be the year that he says no. He's not going to want to do it. I think he enjoys doing it. Now, that might change a little bit now that he has a little kid at home. But he's done it. The offer is going to be extended to him. I don't know if Devondre we'll probably extend the offer to Devondre again too, see if he wants to come back, or Elton. Elton might come back. Elton did it 2 years ago and then tore his ACL and wanted to focus on getting back last year, so he didn't do it. So Devondre stepped in. So I don't know. We'll have a couple of good guys doing it again on Wednesday nights. Got to figure that out yet.
Yeah, I think you should go after Jordan Love. I think he could be an asset.
Well,
he might be the guy.
We'll see. I get a feeling if Jordan Love is the guy next year, he ain't going to be doing any radio shows. He'll be learning the playbook, studying.
That's a good point. He needs to be learning the playbook. Right?
He better know it by now. He's been sitting for 3 years.
Well, yeah, he does. But those guys, if you're going to be, if you're going to take over as quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, the last thing you want is a weekly distraction.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't consider you a distraction, Rick.
Well, most people don't, but I'm a nice respite from regular life.
That's awesome. I don't know. I think it's good.
Yeah. Anything else to add on we appreciate you coming on. I've chased you now for a couple weeks. Well, a couple weeks ago I chased you. You said you were busy, and we waited till hockey was over.
Hockey. Hey, speaking of hockey, I did want to ask. I had a question. Did you ref by chance the Bayport Notre Dame game?
I did not. No.
Okay.
You have a lot of questions about the what happened in that game, because I have some answers which I can't tell you, but go ahead.
No, that's fine. But I was talking to Matt Polkamp, the head hockey coach here at Spash, and just today, and we just think it was such a disservice to WIA hockey that they had to meet in the sectionals. It was a real.
Oh well, yeah. That's unfortunately that's kind of the way it is sometimes, right? I mean, you're loaded in one section, and they were the top two teams in the state. Many believed that that sectional final game between those two was really the state championship game. And I would imagine that had Bayport won, they would have beaten Verona as well and been state champs. But, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. I mean, I don't know how you separate them. The only other way to do that would be, and I don't even know how you could, because that's in sectionals, right? Sectionals are broken down by region. So I don't even know how you would move one of those teams to a different section. I mean, are you going to do that on a yearly basis for your top two teams? I mean, it is kind of a bummer, but I don't know how you get around it. They just happen to be the two best teams this year.
Yeah, and that's true. And here's what I heard was proposed at the coaches meeting down at State, and I want to get your take on if you like this idea or not. So what they proposed was there's 4 section champions, so 4 teams win, and then after that they actually select the top 4 teams that are not in the playoffs anymore, have been eliminated, and they take 8 teams to state, and then they have another playoff bracket.
And reseed them?
Yeah, basically reseed them. So you take the 4 winners, they're like the top seeds, and then you go from there, and you put in the other 4 best that have been eliminated up to that point. And then that gives a team like a Bayport a chance at state, basically.
I mean,
but what if Bayport loses, then comes back to win state? Do they have to play twice? Do you get 2 losses then?
No, you're talking about just doing an 8-team bracketed,
correct,
8-team bracketed tournament
at state.
Which, let's be honest, which is what most state tournaments are, aren't they? Is that what they do for basketball
correct.
As well, or do they just?
That's what Minnesota does.
Yeah, Minnesota does it. I know that for sure. Do they do that in basketball here in Wisconsin, or do they just take 4?
Just 4.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, I would be in favor of just take the top 2 teams from each bracket or from each sectional, and then rank them 1 through 8. 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7. Do something along those lines. If you take the top 2 teams from each section, I don't know how you really do it without revamping your whole sectional tournament. But I mean, how often does it happen that they figure the top 2 teams are in the same section? It's very interesting because if you go, so I went down to the state tournament for hockey this weekend because the Ice Bears, the girls team, was in it. And they have banners listing all the championship teams from the years gone by, right? And I guess it's a little more diverse now in more recent years, but you look up there, and for the first 15 years, the state tournament was won by some team out of Madison or Superior or Hudson.
I saw that.
So again, how often do you really have the situation arise where you have the 2 best teams meeting in the section? I can tell you, I don't think it'll happen next year. Notre Dame's always going to be good, right? Because they don't recruit, but they just get all the good players.
Just magically.
We've discussed that,
right?
Yeah.
And I think Bayport's on the verge of maybe taking a step or 2 back. So, I mean, it's cyclical, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, anyways, I was just curious what your thoughts were.
But you know what? Bayport had them on the ropes twice this year and let them off.
They did.
Yeah, should have finished the deal.
They have nobody to blame but themselves. The first meeting, they had them 1-0. They give up the tying goal with 8 seconds left, and they lose it early in overtime. They, here in the most important game of the season, they have them on the ropes, and they give up the tying goal in the last 3 minutes of the game. And, what their team captain gets kicked out midway through the second period. Then they give up a quick goal in overtime. They had them on the ropes, man.
Yeah, they did. It's a bummer.
Yeah. Well, lesson learned.
Yep. What are you going to do? All right. Anything else?
He answered all my questions. I appreciate that.
And I answered them truthfully, by the way, too.
You're dang right.
Even Rookie more appreciated.
On his face.
We really appreciate you stopping out or stopping onto the podcast, and we'd love to have you back sometime if you ever want to talk about all your experience as a ref.
Well, I'll come back on when I get a list of where that money's going, and then that'll be the next podcast. We'll break it down.
You dang right.
$1,000.
I love it. That's awesome. All right, guys. Hey,
tight.
Rookie, just hang on here while we upload. I'm going to end this here.